being part of this, and I'd like to especially thank the media for being present here this morning. It's no good getting up here and talking on your own. You need someone to tell the people what it's all about. First thing I want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is just talk about myself quickly. I'm a true independent, and I'm running as an independent so that I can work wholeheartedly with all levels of government, but more importantly, with all political parties. It's very important in council that we're able to do that. Otherwise, you end up in situations where you have stalemates just because one party believes that you're not able to, or give them, their party, the type of response that they want. I will run a council that will make decisions on behalf of the people. We will make the decisions, not making decisions with costly studies and also getting into situations where we need to make people aware of what we're doing through other channels. This will save time and it will save money, but more importantly, it will be decisions made on your behalf from your council. We'll get back to a workable size outside workforce to ensure that we're getting the work done throughout the community. And these days, a lot of things that are happening in the outside area are not being properly fulfilled because of the fact that we haven't got a full size workforce to conduct these jobs within the area. One of the biggest things that has happened over the last few years in cost cutting is that they downsized the outside staff by 1/3, which is quite considerably unforgivable really, because they expect to get the same amount of work done with 2/3 of the people. It can't be done. The other thing I want to do is, as I did before when I was in council, is to be in touch with the workforce. The workforce is the front line of our council, and they are in the area able to bring back very valuable information back to the council table. So from there, as I did before, we'll be making sure that we keep in touch and understand what's happening at the coalface in our area. Now, finances. One of the biggest problems that we've got facing us in this council, and don't kid yourself, it is the debt situation. We hear about how the debt's coming down, but then also all of a sudden we find that the debt's back up again. There's paying off from one hand and borrowing it back to the other. This has to stop. If we are going to get on top of the debt situation, we have to start proper debt reduction. And we have to get on to that debt reduction in such a way that we set in place a parameter to ensure that as we are working through the debt reduction, we keep that moving and don't keep borrowing back money that we've already paid off. The size of the debt that we have today, if we have a major disaster, is going to pull us into a very bad situation, and to the point where the QTC could bring in an administrator, and if they do, they'll be looking at paying off the debt their way and at their time and in a time to suit them, not somehow so that we can get it through as a council and keep it at a reasonable rate. But we have to start, and we must start now. When I was in May last year, 2015, I questioned the council through a letter to the editor that the QTC, Queensland Treasury Corporation report, indicated that we had a debt of 171 million. The mayor at the time said that we had actually the debt I was wrong and the QTC was wrong, and that I was reading the QTC report wrongly, and that the QTC report actually was, the debt itself was actually 146 million, and that she likened it to a payout figure as if you're paying in a car. The extra money that the QTC was talking about was similar to a payout figure. When I went back and went over the debt mentions, as the debt was mentioned in the QTC report, it clearly indicated it was $171 million. However, at the time I said that if we were not careful, we'd end up with a debt coming into Christmas in the area of $200 million. On the 22nd of December 2015, in the Mayor's financial report, she revealed that we had liabilities. Our liabilities are debt. Liabilities of $209.7 million. She also said we had a deficit of $10.3 million. Deficit is an overdraft, and overdraft is a debt. If you add these two together, you end up with a debt ratio of 220 million. However, I have had from different reports from the council trying to put through that the debt is only $150 million. Then all of a sudden they're talking about $171 million. What I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, and people of the community, at the end of the day, if I do get in there, if you put me in there as your mayor, I will give you an exact report on what that amount is. as soon as I possibly can. But we must get on with reducing debt, and we must do it as soon as possible. We must start practicing doing that the minute we get in there. A lot of people say to me, how are you going to do this? How are you going to bring debt down if other councils can't do it? Well, I'll do the same as what I did last time I was in there, and that is to broaden the rate base. One of the most important things in a council, you can't just keep cutting the services, and you can't just keep putting rates up to the point where people can't afford to pay rates. At the end of the day, what we have to do is broaden the rate base. In other words, more people out there paying rates. And at the end of the day, we have to give developers a fair go to ensure that they can get out there and develop our region and get it moving in such a way that we will have incentive with them, but also will keep the cost down for the incoming consumers, the people who are going to buy that land at a reasonable price and build their home at a reasonable price. Down there in Bribey Island, they're selling houses down there for $346,000. Up here, we're over $400,000 for a four-bedroom home, average fair four-bedroom home. And that says a lot in itself. And the reason for that is that some of these developers have taken up to 9 years to get their developments through. This has to change. And on top of that, Council also has a number of legal challenges taking place with developers, with investors, and also with people who are doing things within our community. This has to stop as well. What we will do is the same as I did in my previous council. We will undertake to carry through a system of arbitration to ensure that what we are doing as a council is talking our way through these problems, getting over these situations, saving very valuable money, saving valuable time, but more importantly on top of that, at the end of the day, what we have to do is build confidence, and you won't build confidence if people don't like what you're doing. When I finished in council at the last term, I'd taken debt from 38.6 million down to 17.3. At the same time, we had conducted over a 6-year period major infrastructure projects. Nothing like this has been done in the last 25 years. And to be quite honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, they are still reaping the benefits out of what we've put in place, things like the Norman Road upgrade, series pipeline and water line up along Norman Road. They've been taking networks costs off that area there ever since. And that was paid for while we were paying debt in my council. After the 1991 flood, we brought in a rate freeze to help the people after that flood to catch up and get over the flood situation. Because a lot of people were hurting very bad. We couldn't bring it in for just a few, so we had to bring it in for the whole area. So we had a rate freeze for 12 months, which gave people time to catch up with the costs and what was happening. The Gracemere School, it really is to me an insight, and to my community and our community, that we have an area out there, a fast-growing area such as Gracemere, and they haven't got a high school. Clyde has been given a high school, or given the go-ahead for a high school in recent times, and I don't take that away from them. I applaud them for getting it. But what I am saying to you is that we need a high school out here in Gracemere. We've got young children on buses that shouldn't be travelling at that time of the day and night and morning going to and from school. We need to have those children able to get up and go to school in a timely manner, and not also be standing up on buses because buses are overcrowded. I don't blame the bus companies. They don't know from one time to another how many people are going to be on the buses and what sort of a situation you're going to have. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, what I said at the last election was that I would take the petition that was put in place by the people of Gracemere down to the Minister, and I would lobby the Minister and also present that petition on behalf of the community to ensure that we get started on a high school for Gracemere. Now, the LNP said at the last election that what they would do was they'd start putting a grade 8 and grade 9 classes in place and then grow the high school from there over a period of years. That, I have no problem with that. So long as we get started. We must get started, and we must start moving on this job, and sooner rather than later. One of the things that I have, a lot of people have referred to me to is the website and the social media situation within council. The web is it's a very important tool these days, especially when the council officers are saying to people, go on the web and look it up. Now when people go on the web to look it up, they get on the web, and what they find is they can't understand from one section to the other where they should go to find various information. And also too, with the social media links, it's not also pointing to the things that they need to understand and know. Not all people are completely computer savvy, and even some of those that are having problems with it. Our airport. I've listened to some of the other candidates, and it's been quite amusing to me. They talk about going overseas to acquire places to do export tie-ins and everything else. What they forget about and what they don't understand is that we are running an airport. And what we do is provide a service to the exporters. The exporters are already here. They're already operating within our area. They're already sending stuff overseas. They have the markets already in place. We don't need, like Margaret Steele has been doing, running around overseas, making out she's doing something for the community. But at the end of the day, those people over there, or the people that are going to export over there, already have those markets tied up. What we've got to do is get our service situation here at the airport in place and operating so they can start operating at the airport. It's all been put in place. I put it there when I was there before. All we've got to do is get this going. That airport is built to handle the biggest air freighters in the world and then some. We will never, we will not be able, we will get some passenger movements. We're doing it already with Singapore Airlines, and to the thanks to the Singaporean government and army, that's why we have an international airport today, is because of their continuation of usage of our airport. And we've got to let it put in place in the last time in council. But one of the things that we have to do, if we want to get passenger movements on it through our airport as an international status, we have to build up cargo, because all those international operators that take passenger movements, they want cargo. So our first step is to get the cargo going, and as I say, we are an airport operator, not an exporter. So at the end of the day, these are the things we must get in place. The Show Society, not just the Rockhampton Show Society. I'm talking about the Mount Morgan Show Society and also the Brisbane Show Society. Our show societies are a very valuable part of our community. What they do is they get out there and show people and demonstrate to people what our rural and residential and city areas are doing combined together with each other. One of the greatest things to see is that the Rockhampton Show now is back in the control of the citizens of this region. And once again, run with a good volunteer base, as it has been for 142 years, except for the few years the council has been running it. Council have done a terrible job of running the Rockhampton Show. Really, it's got right back to just being a simple fair. And at the end of the day, that is not suitable for our region, especially a region the size of us, going right through the border of the central Queensland the way it is. So consequently, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying to you is, we have to do more for our show society, and if I am in there, I will be. To get our Rockhampton Show and our other shows, I have plans to do things with the Mount Morgan Show Society, to give them more ownership as the citizens, ownership of the show society, and also to our with regions. Too much to go into here, but that's where we'll be heading. Emergency services. That's one of the biggest problems that occur when we're not ready for it. And unfortunately, at the last cyclone event, a lot of people were very much disadvantaged because of the fact that council were not ready. Irrespective of what you told them, the water situation that followed was something absolutely atrocious. We were expected to drink water that you wouldn't even feed the cattle. And I think cattle would be turning up their toes. The water was black in some cases. But also too, there were people in wheelchairs who come to me and said that there was nowhere for them to go. When they did go to some of the places that were provided, the people that were there at the places provided said they couldn't handle their type of disablement. And so therefore they were told to go home. One woman went back home out here at Parkhurst, went back home to her home in darkness and no food, no way to cook food on her own, and taken back there in a maxi taxi and basically, if you like, done with it. So we need to get a proper emergency services situation in place so that it will unfold properly when things go wrong. Whether it be a cyclone, whether it be floods, it doesn't matter what it is, we have to make sure we have the proper way to handle it. And one of the things I want to try and do as quickly as possible, and it's not something that you can do in a short space of time, but have the emergency service situation already set up. This is one of the biggest things and one of the biggest problems that we have with these sort of things, is that when something happens, it'll take a day or two to set up for the situation that we're getting ready for. We need to be able to open the doors and get started on the situation straight away. The third bridge. We just seen in the paper in the last few days where the Bill Byrne, the member for Rockhampton, wants to bring road trains up through the middle of the city and go right down through Musgrave Street. Musgrave Street, ladies and gentlemen, in the future should be our north side, or our whole region city heart. and it's set up in a way that we can do that. But we're not going to be able to do it when you've got road trains hammering down there, and we have a lot of these vehicles moving through. We want them coming through, but what we have to do is have a third bridge properly set up to cater for the situations that we have at hand, to cater for our future. Not just for the meatworks, to get the road trains into the meatworks, to put a ring road down through the coast, but also to take the heavy vehicles as well as the northern traffic through to the north, through our city. The Bruce Highway is an industry within itself, and we have to make sure that that industry does not leave our city. We hear these people daily, I listen to them all the time talking about jobs, jobs, jobs. They wouldn't have a clue how to start a job, and they want to turn around and take one of our biggest industries, and it is one of our biggest, it's probably the third biggest industry in this area, and bypass this area with the Bruce Highway. If you want to create jobs, if you want to make jobs, you've got to make sure you've got the facilities to do so. The third bridge will be one of my big ticket items, not that we'll be paying for in council, but it will be for me to lobby state and federal government to get this underway and get it going for our community. Now, talking about roads, I've just been to a news agency this morning over in Wandam, and the people over there, 4 people in that shop, all said the same thing. Roads are what they really felt was the biggest concern to them, as well as the debt. They talked about the fact that their roads are just like driving over a gravel road in the city. And this is the point. Our roads are falling to bits. When you start seeing the mud coming up through the road, what that means is the underbill of the road is falling to pieces. And consequently, at the end of the day, we're going to end up with a situation where we're going to do more reconstruction of roads instead of resealing, which is what should take place. What the council are doing at the moment, in a lot of cases, I'm not saying all, but in a lot of cases, they are resealing roads that should be reconstructed. And those roads are going to fall to bits in a matter of a few years, and all that money has been wasted and back there again. We have to stop this. Our rural roads need better work. Most importantly, what we need to be doing is to talk to the people out there who use those roads, find out what roads they need to have worked on first and do them properly, and then from there work back across the whole road network system and get it in place. And the last item on the ticket is the Rookwood and Eden Band weirs. I will work consistently with the state and federal government to ensure that we get these 2 projects underway as quickly as possible. I want to make one thing very clear. The Rookwood weir is a weir. It's not a dam, as one particular candidate is making out. It is not a dam, it is a weir. And it's part of a keyline system. The 2 dams that will feed that, 3 dams that will feed that, are the Connors, the Fairburn, which is already built, and the Nathan dams. And they will then filter down through a network of weirs and locks coming down the river system, through the Dawson Kellide valleys, as well as the Isaacs Plains, and back up into the north, up around Nebo and those places up there. And through that system of weirs and locks, that will make water available to the good cultivation areas right throughout the river system to ensure, at the end of the day, that we get water where we want it and not cover the best cultivation land. 70,000 acres of land will go underwater with the GAP proposal. It is absolutely outrageous. Some of our best farming land, closest to our best transport areas, will go underwater, and we won't be able to farm it unless you put a supplement. So, ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is we must do what is necessary to make the best use of the whole of Central Queensland and not just part of it. I want to thank you all very much for coming this morning. I hope I haven't held you up too long, and I want to most importantly say that after the Saturday the 19th, if I can be there, everything I'm talking about